Hey Cycle Fam, Joe here. Just wanted to hop on and do a quick video about heart rate zone training. We've been in this series, this endurance series, 7 parts to it, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I recorded the 80-minute ride this week. I'll be recording the 90-minute ride next week. And I've been wearing a heart rate monitor, my Scosh, on my arm and displaying, if you're just watching this video and you haven't seen them, you got to go ride with me. I've been displaying my heart rate zones on the screen, right? So in real time, which has been why it's so hard to teach this. I'm coaching and getting to the same heart rate zone that you are. That's crazy, right? But anyway, you got to check them out if you haven't. And the whole goal, again, is to build endurance. Now, I want to do 3 things with this video, with the end goal in helping you understand heart rate zones and calculating your own. I'm going to show you a video of another YouTube creator who explains it pretty well. We'll react to that. Then I'm going to show you my metabolic assessment that displays my current heart rate zones based on a test that I took at my work, at my job at Lifetime. And then I'm going to show you how to calculate your heart rate zones. Are you good with that? So let's get to this video.
What are heart rate zones and how do you use them to train? For physical exercise, there are 5 heart rate training zones. First, important to know your max heart rate.
So we want to find out what our max heart rate is first.
General way to estimate this is 220 minus your age. Zone 1 is used for walking and hiking. Zone 2, also known as the fat burning zone. This is used for light jogging. This can be maintained for several hours.
All right, keep telling you the fat burning zone.
Zone 3 is the aerobic zone. This is used in endurance sports such as marathon running to build an aerobic base.
Endurance sports, fat burning, endurance. I've been telling you this.
This can be held for 2 to 3 hours. Zone 4 is the anaerobic zone. This is great for building speed and it can be held for about 10 to 20 minutes. Zone 5 is an all-out sprint and this can only be held for about 30 to 60 seconds. By using various heart rate zones, you can improve your aerobic endurance and build speed.
All right, so that's a great video. I agree with most of it. At the end, I think the only thing I disagree with is zone 5 can't be held to a minute, 30 seconds max. If you imagine yourself sprinting or going all out on a bike effort, you really can't do that for a whole minute without your energy really decreasing after about that 20-30 second spot. But either way, that's pretty close. You have all your zones here. I want to show you a chart real quick. So here you have, and again, this is how we train, how we've been training during this endurance series. You have your very light at 50 to 60% of your max heart rate zone. Keep that in mind. Then you get to light. That's where we've been in zone 2. We've been in zone 2, which the benefits there are improving basic endurance and fat burning. I've been telling you this, right? Moderate is that zone 3, 70 to 80%, right? You start to breathe a little harder, improves aerobic fitness. Then you have your hard zone 4. We're going to do that. If you haven't done the 80-minute version, we do a little bit of zone 4 in that one. The benefits are to increase maximum performance, capacity for shorter sessions. And then you have your maximum heart rate. Again, I believe you can only do this about 10 to 30 seconds at most. And it's just all out heart rate, all out push. Now, I want to show you my zones after taking what we call a metabolic assessment at Lifetime. I get on, if you can imagine me on a treadmill with a heart rate monitor on and a mask that starts to calculate my oxygen intake and outtake, right? Is outtake a word? I don't know if outtake is a word, but it's calculating my oxygen, right? As I'm breathing heavier and heavier. And here are the results here. Let's see where your zones are. This is what the computer spit out after my test. That will start at the bottom, zone 1. So my heart rate in zone 1 can be up to 132 beats per minute, 112 to 132. It even tells me how many calories I burn at that heart rate zone, 12.2 per minute. Pretty cool. The base right there, I'll explain a little bit more about that on the next slide. But then you've got zone 2, 133 to 148. So that's why on my screen, I'm showing you that I got to get to 133 even to get to zone 2, right? And then zone 3, 149 to 164. And then the threshold, this is where you cross over from the aerobic to anaerobic. Again, I'll explain a little bit more here in a minute. 165 to 174. Zone 4, we do a few of those in the 80-minute session. And then zone 5, my max can go all the way up to 185. I want you to remember that. And again, at the bottom there, it kind of tells me how to use my zones. If you want to balance work and recovery, ideally all zones should be used each week. Zone 1 and 2, again, burns the most fat, should be 80% of your cardio if that's the goal, right? To balance work and recovery. Zone 3 and 5 improves cardio strength. Will your zones change? Your body will adapt to your zones. Your body will adapt and your zones will change. It will be important to retest to avoid plateau. So this test is telling me retest, right? Because as your cardiovascular system gets better, again, we're building endurance through this ride. Your zones are going to shift a little bit, which is why if you ride the 80-minute ride and you hear me explain why we go into zone 4 a few times, you'll understand this more, but you got to ride there. Okay. Let me show you, or you got to go take the class or watch it or take it, right? Let me show you a little bit more about the zones and explanation of them, heart rate zones. This is so good. Please keep watching. Zone 1, it promotes fat burning. Remember, I told you the lower zones, the fat, when you're in the lower zones, you're burning fat, right? It promotes fat burning and aids in recovery from days of more intense exercise. So if you're on a day where you're recovering, walking, right, is zone 1. It feels easy peasy. You could do this for hours. Just walk on a treadmill. You're in zone 1, right? It's good for burning fat. It's good for recovery workouts. It's why we say, if you don't do any cardio for a day, get about 10,000 steps in, and you'll be burning fat. You'll be doing that zone 1 effort. The base, now listen to the description between zone 1 and zone 2. Your aerobic base is the heart rate at which your body most efficiently burns fat, right? So if my goal is to transform my body to melt fat away, between zone 1 and 2 is where the pocket is for me and for you, right? But for me, right, this is what it's telling us, right? These are the zones for everybody. So good for burning fat, endurance training, which is what we're doing, and recovery workouts. Zone 2, again, trains your body to burn fat, right? We keep saying this, efficiency and improve endurance. It feels like your breathing is heavier, but you're fairly comfortable. Remember, I tell you this, I tell you how you should be feeling on the bike. It's good for burning fat and endurance. Again, you want to let zone 2 be zone 2. Don't be tempted to go hard, to breathe heavy. Let zone 2 be zone 2. Zone 3 increases your tolerance for anaerobic training, improves anaerobic threshold, right? So when you go into zone 2, it improves how long you stay or how effective zone 2 is. So it feels, or zone 3, when you go into zone 3, it improves your tolerance for zone 2. So it feels like your breathing is heavy and you're working hard. We know this from the rides that we're doing. You're still burning fat, your cardio training, and you're exercising, and exercise tolerance is what we're doing. We're learning to endure. We're learning to go longer, right? Then your threshold is when, this is the point at which your body shifts from burning mostly fat to mostly carbs. So those of you who have been on the bike for a while and you've been you haven't seen any results, maybe it's because you're doing too many HIIT workouts, you're working too hard, and you're above burning carbs instead of burning fat, which again, zone 1, 2, and 3, you're burning fat, right? So this is the threshold. It's good for interval training, circuit style resistance, and training. Zone 4 increases your peak VO2, your capacity, your lung capacity. In other words, an aerobic threshold. You feel winded and you're pushing yourself very hard. This is good for cardio training and speed training. Now, zone 5, this is still good. They're all still good. They all serve a purpose. It increases your peak VO2 max. Again, your lung capacity and aerobic threshold. You can barely catch your breath. This is your all-out effort, your body's absolute max. Okay. Now, this is good for when you're doing some of the HIIT workouts, Tabata workouts that I have, sprinting training. So that's what this is good for. Now, this is good information. So again, watch this video over if you have to, but I want to show you how to calculate yours, and you might even get how old I am here. Now, there's two ways to do it, right? This is and I got my calculator. I'm looking down at my phone right here so I can calculate this for you, right? The Tanaka formula, I think that's how you say it. This is one, they say this is more accurate than the traditional formula. I'll show you both. But basically you go 208 minus 0.7 times your age. There's my age right there. Did you see it? You might have to, okay. And equals, okay, so it's telling me 174.4. So that's pretty close. My test says 175 to 185. But again, this is a general idea. Okay, so I would still be doing good at 175 if that was my max. But because I'm in a little bit better cardio condition for my age, my heart rate max is higher, peaking at 185. Okay, so you could also do the traditional one, which you probably will be familiar with, 220 minus whatever your age is. Okay, and this is showing me now 172. So 172, 174.4, that they're pretty close, right? They're not too far off. Again, the best way to do it is if you have a way to take a metabolic assessment. We do that at Lifetime, but you don't need to. You really don't need to. Just use this formula, right? Use this formula, calculate what your max is, the very highest your heart rate can go, okay? And then you divide it again into those percentages, right? So 50 to 60% of whatever that max is your light, 60 to 70 of that max heart rate is your light, then moderate, then hard, then maximum. So you have all the ways there. So this is a really simple way to calculate it for yourself, right? Again, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna see it on your on your heart rate zones, on your training. If you have a Scosh like this, I'll put a link in the description so you can buy your own. They're about $40. No big deal. And you can really dial in what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to lose weight, you already know those lower zones are gonna be key. If you're working HIIT, Tabata, high end, burning carbs, sugar out of your body, again, the different carbs, different calories that you're burning, you're doing that HIIT, you're doing that high intensity cardio. Anyway, let me know if this is helpful. I want to record more of these. I started out by recording a few tutorials on this channel. I haven't done it in a while, but I feel like it was time because I had so many questions from you regarding heart rate zones and where you should be, how you should feel, all of the above. Let me know. Smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Connect with me on IG. All that information is there at the bottom of the screen. I'll see you on the next ride. Take care.